This is Michel Labrèche talking to you from my home. So we're going to be covering together all the topics that are being unraveled in that book, The Wizard of Us 2 or The Sole Purpose. Now, of course, a lot of topics exist in the world, and I will refer to them after a brief introduction. Chapter 1 going from why did I wrote that book. Of course, there's an explanation, and when you hold a key to a very, very precious higher self knowledge, you make yourself a mandate of transferring that and sharing that with other people. Now, there's a lot of book on the market, there's a lot of tapes and a lot of films and movie industry and stuff like that, but what I possess, what I realized, and what I went beyond further, all the other books that I read made me unique in my way. So I will try to share this with you. Now, of course, the duality that we live in the actual world makes us go false or truth, beautiful or ugly, and we think in a binary system. Now, the thing is this, is that by doing so, technically evil and bad and stuff like that, we are not united together, and most of the people are unable to say we have to unite with the universal and be ourselves like emissaries of the universal energy down on earth and through our soul with the love that we possess, through the consciousness of our mind and our spirit, we can actualize through the sheer will with our physical body and transfer the world and make it into a paradise. Of course, if you realize and if you read the news and look at the TV, you will realize that a lot of things don't happen as were planned or as we would be expecting it. Now, of course, objectivity and subjectivity makes it different, and what one person perceives is different from another one. So that at one point we must go into a reality, and when we are in a reality, we are over the multiple truths, because a lot of people say I hold the truth, I hold the truths, and then they are all in conflict. So it means that truth holds the opposite, which is false. At one point you must know how to unite and be polarized in a neutral way and to comprehend the whole thing together. So in that book, what I present to you is my understanding of life as is unraveled, and I will be talking about a lot of psychological factors and how we describe our behavior and our attitudes. And at the same time, I will go further and talk about the thinking process. Now, the thinking process, anybody in his right mind thinks that when there is cerebral activity in your mind, you think that you're obviously talking to yourself. Well, I have news for you, because sometimes we are being interfered, and it's like if you have a spyware in your computer machine, sometimes there are hackers from outside on another realm that are trying to go inside your mind, and you are having bad thoughts that are not intelligence, don't belong to you. They belong to another realm, and then when you physically are influenced by those thoughts, what happens is that technically you do things, and then you create karma, you create experience, and through experience you do suffering, and then you finally evolve. But the energy you release with your body makes you degenerate, and there's a decay that is provoked in the matter, and those entities are really living up from the essence that is going outside yourself. So you're really losing something. Where you are very afraid, you have the fright factor. Whatever is leaving your body is your vital essence, your vital energy, and this is nourishing them like if you are just with a rose just breathing the perfume. Okay, this is the best allusion I can make. Now, after that, I will be talking of all the areas of emotion that we have, because basically there's only one true emotion, which is love, but that is expressed at a lower level. And in that sense, what it does is that it becomes a lot of things, and then it can be very complicated in your mind, because you can have envy, jealousy, fright, you can have superiority complex, you have a lot of stuff that happen on the psychological wave. And basically, if you would know how to love in a real, express, absolute way, even above unconditional love, because when you talk about unconditional love, you still make a reference to something, so it's not pure love, because pure love is without any reference, it's only acting and stating, emanating, radiating a real energy. Okay, same thing with the consciousness. If your mind, your spirit, what you call your higher self, is not the pure principle of intelligence, then it becomes intellect, it becomes rationalism, it becomes university degrees. You can have people, high scientific minds, great scientific minds, but they have control with wave pattern. And sometimes those wave patterns come from an outside realm, which really is affecting you. And when it affects you, you lose energy, and in the end, you die. So, of course, I will be talking about death and the reincarnation principle that is forwarded by a lot of religion like Buddhism, Hinduism, and stuff like that. And of course, it's really important to know that there's a reason why the body decays. There's a physical bug in our body that is activated when your mind is being interfered with astral plane, which is the intermediate plane between the physical plane and what people call the paradise or the etheric plane. So, of course, lots of religion have different words to picture and verbalize different things, but it all comes back to one thing. So if we know how to be objective and not subjective, and not to be dually polarized, then we will use the same vocabulary, and in the end it will be one transferal of information without any loss. And this is what you're really going and striving for. So in the book, after that, I talk about the real reason why the universe, why the expansion, why the Big Bang, where does it come from and where it is leading to, because I have a very, very interesting theory on that, but it's my inner knowledge. And I will talk about laws of cycle, because of course in the last 100 years since the crash of 1929, we all have physical loss, and then it's all being explained at different level until we reach the years 2016 to the years 2000, maybe 25. In the next 10 years, a lot of things is going to be unraveling, and basically we have to be prepared. We have to transform ourselves, otherwise it's not so bad. We will be out of the realm and we'll be somewhere else, and we'll come back. So there's no fear to have, really. And after that, I will talk about great magician of the past, like, and I'm not talking here about Houdini, I'm more talking about Charlie Chaplin, magician of the smile, Einstein, magician of quantum physics. I could talk about Martin Luther King, magician in human rights, and a lot of people like that. Okay. Afterwards, we're going to be talking about the paranormal phenomena. There's a wide array in there. I think I have like 25 topics, going from UFOs or flying saucers, but UFO is a better word, and higher consciousness, intelligence is a better word even. At one point, intelligence doesn't use flying saucer and doesn't even use like a spaceship. They use like a force field to get around their own consciousness to just travel throughout the world. So basically, I will be covering topics going from ghost, poltergeist, angels, apparition, apparition of Virgin Mary, and spontaneous combustion, the phenomenon of déjà vu, already known, or the psychic phenomena of ESP, and all those stuff. It's all covered there. So you'll find with the relative memory and the alternative memory, which is the universal memory, what are my view on that. Okay, and I'm there to explain, to transfer, and to transform. Okay. So after that, of course, I will talk about the future and what I see, what I foresee for the future. But after a big end of cycle, whereas a lot of it's going to be transformed, and the population of Earth will be probably downsized to a fewer number of persons, because we don't really need to be 8 billion person, because at one point it's like too much for the planet to hold, and at one point there's pollution and all stuff like that. So basically there is a lot of things going to be happening in the next couple of years, and we have to be prepared by preparing our mind, our soul, and our body, eating right, and having nice thoughts in your creative thoughts in your mind, and trying to express love at its highest levels. Okay, the kind of love that a mother has, let's say, for her children, something like that, but at an even higher level. So after that, I will talk about my personal experiences and what happened to me throughout my life since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I have a lot to recollect, and I think I have like 50 different experiences, and then I talk about how I perceived those experiences, what they did for me, and what was the intake, was the lesson learned, and at one point, what are my conclusions that I was able to draw. So at the end, I will talk about films, and I will talk about books, and of course, a lot will go outside the act, the rabbit act of the magician. So in the end, of course, I'm trying to share with people that are there to be on a spiritual path of enlightenment, and they don't want to be only spiritual in a way that there's the physical realm and the other realm, which is invisible, but that there is a higher quest for consciousness, pure consciousness, and this will be replacing the New Age movement and then the total awareness movement. In the next one, and that's coming very soon, it's going to be pure energy in a form that can be deconstruct and reconstruct instantly. This is what is coming. So thank you for listening to me.